They can feed you, they can heal you, they can kill you, and they can inspire your living room's entire lighting concept and even take over the internet. That's right, home decor has gone full mushroom core, and I have a feeling it's all thanks to this little orangey influencer, the mushroom lamp. Does anybody else find it just a little ironic that a lamp shaped like a fungus would go viral? Get it? Because it's spreading like fungus does. Okay, so it's no secret that the mushroom motif is really having its moment right now. From the hit series The Last of Us, to the sensational umami seasoning from Trader Joe's, to the targeted anti-bloat mushroom coffee ads I seem to be getting served on Instagram on the daily, it really does just feel like everyone's on shrooms these days. I just really wanted to say that. What I want to know though is, why is the mushroom motif having such a big moment in interior design? And perhaps what does this little orange icon have to do with it? In the world of interior design, certain shapes tend to evoke senses of whimsy or wonder within us. Some might say that shape was the donut, others might say it was the kidney bean, but today I say it's the mushroom. Let me tell you about the very first mushroom lamps, which we can actually trace back all the way back to the year 1900. But first, before there were lamps, there were shrooms. Well, actually, before there was humankind, there was shrooms. In her book, Mushrooms, Object Lessons, Sarah A. Rich talks about how for much of humanity, mushrooms were actually totally revered. She refers to early Neolithic cave paintings of mushrooms and mushroom motifs in Spain and Algeria. She delves into classical antiquity, where mushrooms were a centerpiece in their religious practices, and even in the medieval periods where philosophers and alchemists saw divinity in the mushrooms. This was on account of the mushroom's ability to spontaneously abound, inexhaustibly, immeasurably, and mysteriously. Now, I'm not an expert, but I think a billion-year-old natural kingdom necessary to sustaining life on Earth really deserves all the love it can get. But anyways, the awe that mushrooms and the natural, magical world evoked in humanity started to wane in the following centuries, especially when dominant religious thought at the time was placing all beings on a hierarchical ladder, with humans below divine entities and animals, plants, and mushrooms below humans. And especially when Enlightenment and all the following industrial periods shifted our thought to reason, science, and industry. This preference then became very evident in the architectural and artistic styles of the time, which often focused on things like order, formality, and symmetry. Now, the mushrooms, of course, were still out there performing their spore de force, but their magic more so appeared in niche sciences and fairy tales. That was until one very iconic, very revolutionary art style came along and said, "I don't freaking think so." And that, my friends, was Art Nouveau. The late 19th century ushered in a revival of both the mystical and the naturalistic in art and design. Remember at the beginning of this episode where I said we could trace the mushroom lamp all the way back to 1900? Well, this is that part. In protest of all that aesthetic rigidity and industrial yuck happening at the time, the artists and designers of the Art Nouveau era turned to nature. This was an attempt to revive the mystical beauty and naturalistic potential that the era was lacking. They sought after those organic shapes, the flowy lines, and the overall just integration of nature into everyday life. And they most certainly championed the champignon. Champignon. I think that's right. One of the luminaries of this era was Émile Gallé, a master of glass art and a pioneer of the Art Nouveau aesthetic. Gallé was fascinated by the natural world and expressed this through his work, which incorporated floral and fungal motifs. Among his celebrated works were the champignon lamps, aka the OG mushroom lamps. Gallé's champignon lamps became iconic objects of their own time, inspiring a whole new wave of nature-inspired designs, reconnecting the indoors with the outdoors and blending the living space with the natural world. Now, for those of you who saw the Art Nouveau episode in last season of A Style is Born, you will remember that there was a huge revival of this style in the 60s and 70s. This celebration of the natural world and all of its magical whimsy would set the stage for a later designer by the name of Giancarlo Mattioli, who decades later would capture the world's imagination with another mushroom-shaped marvel, our original orange icon, the Nesso lamp. The lighting legend who would combine the cartoonish features of a mushroom with space-age sensibilities and lots of psychedelic style. The iconic object who has taken the internet by storm over 5 decades later. Okay, so how the heck did that happen? And why is this lamp all over my TikTok feed? Let me know if you feel this way too, but the last 4 years have been a surreal fever dream, right? But something I distinctly remember amidst all the fizz was the emergence of a little niche style known as Goblincore. Yes, Goblincore, which is reason 866,272,000 why I love the internet, because anything and everything can be a something core. Now, not to be confused by Goblin Mode, which is a different concept also gifted to us by the internet of the last 4 years. Goblincore is an aesthetic concept, and it's all about embracing that magic found in the less polished parts of nature. Use it in a sentence? No problem. Okay, how about this? If you need me, I can be found going Goblin Mode in my Goblincore abode. Think of Goblincore like cottagecore, but now imagine that cottage sitting in a much more enchanted magical forest. So we need way more whimsy, way more moss, and certainly way more mushrooms. Goblincore is a cozy, fauna-filled fantasy that's all about finding beauty in the imperfection and embracing that chaos in the natural world, which feels like something that I think we've all been trying to do in these last 4 years. It's really no wonder that so many new and revived design styles seem to be emerging, like literally weekly, on the internet. Interior design is the perfect way for us to world build according to our terms in what seems to be an ever-evolving, ever-chaotic, ever-imperfect world. And I love that. And what better symbol of world building than the simple mushroom? Earthy and grounding, mystical and psychedelic. And after all, aren't we all just little elves doing our best to build the most magnificently lit world of our dreams? In the years since 2020, Google search results for mushroom decor and mushroom aesthetic have skyrocketed. And when Pinterest analyzed its own user trend report, it predicted that 2023 would be the year of the shroom. So of course, that fever dream is going to lead to the emergence of styles like Goblincore and the subsequent home decor takeover of all kinds of mushroom lamps. After all, nothing quite combats the feeling of gloom and doom like a cute little shroom. But as far as this little icon goes, I think we can attribute its status to one simple thing: pure vibes. And by that, I mean this single mushroom captures the orangey ambiance that us interior designers and spatially sensitive peeps dream of. Truly an icon. Dear friends, thank you for talking shrooms with me today, and let me know in the comments below what other viral iconic objects we should chat about next. And in the meantime, if you're looking to go full goblin mode in your humble abode, well then Wayfair's got all the fungi lighting and sweet mushroom decor that you'll ever need. And until next time, stay iconic.